Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. This is a dog collar that is supposed to help control dog barking. It's by Fa Fa Frog. It's my favorite company name, and it has a color screen. And I mean, this is it. It's not a huge box. It's not super complicated. We have two dogs. They're big dogs. We have a golden retriever, Sadie, and Sophie. We absolutely adore her. She is a boxer and Bernese Mountain Dog mix. She loves to bark, loves to bark. So this is like the perfect thing for her. We live out in the country, up in the mountains, away from everybody, and we do have neighbors that have dogs that bark as well. But we have a rather sensitive neighbor about our dog barking, and it's late at night when we let them out. Sophie, she just loves to bark. She just like wants to like bark to show it's her territory. Anyway, we've had like vibrating collars and stuff before, and the remote controls and everything else, and sometimes they're not always there to uh, basically administer like the tone or the vibration to kind of give her like, hey, you need a little bit of a warning. So we figured we'd get a smart collar. So this is what comes in a box. So that's your collar, and obviously it has this little buckle on it, so it is adjustable for the size of the neck of your dog. It's got a quick release on it, so you can take it off at nighttime, and you're able to charge it. These are your static electrodes. You have your two little dots down here, and this is for the wireless charging. And let's see what else we get in the box. So there's actually a bunch of stuff in here. Oh, okay, so that's just like a little warning that's down to the bottom of the box. And on the back, it basically says it has a warning tone mode, vibration mode. It has the static shock mode, magnetic charging, rechargeable battery, and it's IP67 waterproof. It has simple settings in two buttons, smart barking recognition system, 5 sensitivity levels, and it has a color screen to make things easier to go through. And this is little instructions. And this kind of gives you an idea, if I can get my fingers unfolded. So it gives you like kind of examples of what settings you should use in what environments. And from reading this really quick, it looks like if you have a quiet area, you want like 3 to 5 sensitivity, like kind of like the area that we live in. If you have a normal conversation level area, you want 2 to 4 as your sensitivity level. And if you have a noisy environment, dogs playing around, loud music, TV, set it to like that 1 to 3 level. This is your user manual, and I actually had read ahead of time to see how easy it would be, and that's pretty easy. It's got a pretty easy to follow flow chart, and on the back, it's going to kind of give you like the cycle of what's going to happen. Now, kind of like in summary, what this collar will do is basically kind of gives you like a bridge. Like the first 30 seconds, it's not going to really do anything. So you want your dog to bark. I mean, that's primarily why we have our dogs, for safety and intruders or whatever. I want my dogs to bark, and I'm sure you do too. But the excessive barking is basically what this is designed for. So your first 30 seconds is going to let the dog bark as normal. And then after that, it's going to give tones for about a minute. If they continue to bark, after that minute, it's going to go into another minute mode of vibrating, letting the dogs know, hey, it's time to calm down. And after that following minute, it's going to go into the static shock mode. And you can adjust that sensitivity level. I believe it's from 1 to 5. The manual explains it a lot better than I can. There is a lot to this. I'm going to get this charged and ready to go. And then it's going to be probably a difficult thing to show how it will perform on our dog Sophie. But I'm sure if you're looking for a product to control her barking, this is a tool that's definitely going to be useful for what you need. It actually got recommended by a friend of mine. So I'm actually pretty excited to get this on her and in use. But first things first, charging. So you have your magnetic charging USB wire here, So it's a pretty decent amount of cord. And what you're doing is it's magnetic. So what it will do is it will, I think if I get the right one, yeah, okay. So it's got a, so that's a wrong, so it's not going to let you go. But if you have the right orientation, it's going to like stick right to it like glue. Then you just plug into like a charging block. And you heard the vibration automatically when I plugged it in. So that is the front of the collar, and it's going to give you the blinking lights, give you an idea of, you know, the charging. And it does come pretty well charged, as you can tell from the screen. Hopefully I don't get any too much glare in there. I'll kind of like rotate it a little bit for you. What else you get is you have these little pin covers. They're rubberized covers, so if you never want the you know, the shock to go off on your pet, you got that. You have 2 extra electrodes if you need to replace them for whatever reason. And this little tool is pretty cool because it has like a hex fitting on it that will basically help you tighten up your pins or loosen them. So then you can basically come off a lot easier, or make sure they stay tight. And it also has a tester. So what I mean by that is, if you put this 2 ends on a prong and then you have you're testing your modes out, there's a little light here that will light up and indicate when this collar is working or not working. So again, you'll have your 30-second, I guess, buffer zone. Then it'll go to a minute where it will give you some tones. It'll go into that next minute where it will give you the vibration, and then the next is going to be the electric static shock on here. Is going to be like the final mode. So that will help you test your modes to make sure that everything's working properly. And again, what a great product. I am so glad that they actually came out with something like this. So we're going to let this charge up, size it to Sophie's neck, and we'll go from there. To set up your modes on this, on the back, you have your power button, and then you have your mode button. So they're kind of marked, so you can kind of like see it. That is obviously your speaker for the tone, and that little hole right there is your microphone. So that's what's going to be picking up the dog barking. Hopefully the weight of this collar will kind of like drop down on her neck, so right where you have the barking noise coming out. But anyway, so that's your power, that's your mode button. I'll flip this back upside down, and this will signify your if you're hitting the power button one by one, it will show you your sensitivity of what it's going to basically be like doing. So like in our area, I think we can probably keep it on probably, let's say probably like 3 or 4. And then if you hit the mode button, so that's tone, that is vibration, that is basically your tone and your vibration, as well as your static shock. So you can basically do any combination of those as you go through the menu. So it's pretty easy to do. And then whatever you have is set as your sensitivity. So like for us, the static shock I think is going to be like an extreme for Sophie. So in the beginning, what we're going to do is just use tone and a vibration on a level 4, and hopefully that's going to teach her to know kind of like what's up. If we feel that there's a problem beyond that, we can add the static shock just to kind of like train her, so she knows what happens if she keeps continually barking. But typically she knows from our previous remote controls that we've used that we hit the vibration, that means, hey, cut it out, and she's kind of pre-trained to that already. But again, you may have to use all 3 modes initially just so your pet knows what's going on. But anyway, so that's how you set up your different modes.